take the opportunity to welcome the directors and deans, and of course, our lecturers join us in this 12th Annual International Research Conference on Business and Economics. I would also want to take the opportunity to welcome the Dean, School of Business and Economics, Dr. Patrick Kibati, to help us to welcome the guest speaker who will be joining us online. Karibu, Daktari.
All right. Reverend, who led us in devotion, Reverend Laban, members of management who are present, acting director for research, Dr. Muga, members of the School of Business and Economics present, our dear students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with much pleasure that I welcome you to today's event. It's one like no other. It's an event which we hold once per year, and this is the 12th School of Business and Economics International Conference. It's a very, very important day in our calendar. The reason being, we participate in research activities, and we know that research drives economic growth, research drives innovations, and ultimately research informs business both locally and internationally. I wish to begin by appreciating the members of the school board who have organized this research conference. There's a team that are sat behind the scenes, working tirelessly, organizing, liaising with the speakers of the day, coordinating with the KUPSA, with our students, with management, and I really wish to appreciate them. Among the team members, of course, most of the lecturers in the School of Business and Economics have participated in one way or another, and within the board, we have Dr. Anwar Sheila, Madam Eunice Waruguru, has also done a great job. Dr. Olo also has Stephen Olomagandi. These are people who've really done a spread job behind the scenes to make sure we have the day as it is today. But like I've just mentioned, all the lecturers in the school have participated in one way or another. Now, I also want to thank all of you for making yourselves available for this very, very important day. It is very, very important to us, and I want to mention one or two things before I invite the first speaker. We had organized that our speakers be face-to-face, be physical, and it will be like that for the second speaker. But something has happened for the first speaker, so that the speaker will engage us online, and that will still be okay. I want to give a brief overview of how we have organized the conference. We've done it in 2 levels. We have the guest speaker. This is Mr. Maurice Mugabe Kinyili. Like you've been told, our theme this particular year is global trades in trade, in investments, and growth. The gentleman whom I'm about to introduce to you is a young person, very young, and was invited specifically to connect with you. A young graduate who has been able to graduate and get into his career very quickly and rise up in the ladder very, very quickly. And therefore, as you hear stories out there, there are no opportunities. It is like this and that. We want to bring to you one who will easily connect with you and let you know there are things that you can do out there, there are opportunities out there, and help you connect with those particular opportunities. So this was a deliberate effort to make sure that this conference also becomes very, very relevant to you. I'll be giving you his biodata very, very shortly. And like I've said, he's the one who is going to join us online. The second speaker of the day will be Her Highness Kadri Humal Ayal, and this is a consul of a country called Estonia. Estonia is in Europe. I'm sure among this crowd, a few years after your graduation, I'm sure some of you will find your way to Europe. Yeah? Others, of course, to America. You know, we are not training you only for Kenya. You are global citizens. I know some of you will ultimately also end up in Australia and other diverse places in the globe. So it is important to help you connect with a high-ranking person from Europe. Estonia is a country in Northern Europe. It's a country actually that is leading in terms of venture capital and startup businesses. And as you know, this conference is for you. We are not only training you for employment. You might begin with employment, that is okay. But ultimately, I will not be shocked 5, 10, 15 years ago, I mean, in the future after you've graduated, when we find you, running very successful businesses. So it is important to know what it takes. Actually, as I'm speaking, I'm reminded of a person that I spoke to. He's a friend, I've known him for quite some time. And he mentioned that, and somehow we bear the same name. Yeah? And that he went somewhere looking for business and introduced himself. And it's like the person saw the name and the person said, oh, this name, I'm very conversant with this name. And the person said, there's another person who used to be in this and this place. That person used to be my lecturer. Yeah? And of course, the person talked about the many details. But the person now who was talking about this is a person who is running a multi-million business empire. So when we say some of you led up in businesses, we are not saying it as a joke. It really has matter. Yeah? And therefore, as we invite this high-ranking person from Estonia, it is important that you get the benefits. Get to know what it takes. Like I've just mentioned, Estonia is leading in terms of small business startups, issues to do with venture capital. And I'm sure the discussion that we shall have in this place will go a long way. All right? And therefore, so it should be beneficial to you as you get to know what does it take for these very successful startups. I'm just been informed, the consul, there was some discussion earlier with her when she left Nairobi. But I'm told in 5 minutes she'll be here. So I was asking, is she flying? Because she just started a few minutes ago. But, they have their own means of getting the loads cleared sometimes. So we are grateful. So therefore, like I've just mentioned, it's good for you to know that is the arrangement. So in the morning session, we'll not have the management present, the vice chancellor plus the other members of management, because there was another meeting also they were participating in, and therefore we agreed we release the management for now, for the first session, but they'll be joining us for the second speaker. When the second speaker will be on, the vice chancellor plus other members of management, deans and directors will be present. So in the first session, we shall hold it, ourselves. And like I've just mentioned, this is the one that we're about to start. And without taking much more time, allow me to introduce to you the speaker of the day. This is Maurice Mugabi Nkinyiri. In line with our theme, Nkinyiri will be talking about investment opportunities and growth for young graduates. Investment opportunities and growth for young graduates. Right? I'm sure in your economics classes, you've been told that your income either goes to consumption or savings. that part of your savings that ultimately goes to investment, he'll be sharing with you which are the opportunities for investment. And therefore, this is very, very relevant to you. It is meant for you as our students to prepare you, for the market that you have after school. So Maurice is a manager. Young as he is, it's good for you to know, and that's why we're saying it's part of your encouragement. Maurice is a manager with a consulting practice. He specializes in data analytics and has been working with the consulting assurance team. He joined the firm in October 2015 as an associate. Maurice has gained extensive experience in carrying out data collection and surveys through the use of mobile and web-based platforms, automations, information risk management audit, revenue assurance, payroll audit, reconciliations, continuous audit, continuous monitoring, implementation projects, risk and control reviews, data analysis, and visualization using various tools. What are his qualifications? Maurice holds a Bachelor of Economics and Statistics from the University of Nairobi. He also has a diploma in Business Information Technology from Strathmore University. He is also a certified information systems auditor. He's also a certified data analyst. He also has a Prince 2 Foundation, Axelos, and also Prince 2 Agile Axelos. This must be for the ICT area. And also qualified at the IBM for Predictive Analytics Modeler Mastery. He also has that qualification. He is a young graduate. He graduated in 2015. And therefore, like we said, this is a person you should be able to connect with. I want to share something brief about him, client experience and responsibility. Maurice has worked on a number of engagements and continues to support the following clients. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IBC. Maurice was involved in the audit of the Register of Voters in 2017 and 2022, focusing on data and biometrics review. For the KCB group, Maurice is the engagement manager supporting continuous audit, continuous monitoring, implementation across all the subsidiaries within the KCB group. KCB is a multi-billion company. It's actually the leading bank in Kenya today in terms of market capitalization, in terms of customer growth, in terms of deposits, in terms of profits. It is a leading bank. Then KPMG Lighthouse in East Africa, Maurice is the manager responsible for solution development, support, and infrastructure within the firm. Caseware, IDEA, and Alessa implementation, Maurice is part of the team supporting over 100 Caseware, IDEA, and Alessa clients in the larger East African region. In the area of tax technology, Maurice is assisting the tax teams design, develop, and deploy tax solutions. And lastly, in the data analytics support area, Maurice is part of the team that provides data analytics support on client engagements. So this is a speaker that I'm about to bring to you this morning to talk to you about investment opportunities and growth for young graduates. You can agree with me that you could not have been able to get a better person. This has been a young person and is talking about what he is practicing. I believe that this is going to be a great inspiration to our students, so that, like you're saying, 5-10 years down the line after your graduation, we find you somewhere, practicing what you'll have learned at the university. So kindly put your hands together to welcome Maurice. 1, 2, 3, we clap. Thank you very much. He's going to join us now online. Like I said, he was to come physically, but there are some issues that arose the last minute, and this has cost him to join us now in the online platform. But I'm sure even as we bring him on board, you'll be able also to have more engagements with him in the future. So thank you very much, Dr. Ann. We want now to be connected online so that he can take over.
Hello. Well, we are waiting for Mr. Morris to unmute so that we can begin. Mr. Morris, on your end, you are muted. If you would please just unmute.
university in business. And so I have just left university, I don't have much in terms of capital, I have 5,000. Now, where do I place my 5,000? Okay. You don't say I have 5,000, so I'm going to start the next Twitter or Amazon. No. Such companies will require a large startup capital, but it shouldn't stop us because there are other endeavors we can focus in and get income for us to, have the seed money or the capital money for the massive idea that we have in mind. The key thing is we all start with that idea in mind in terms of where would I want to invest in. I'll discuss some of them, of these ideas later in this presentation, but you always start with an idea. This is what I would want to put in, because you want to invest in something that you're passionate about, something that no one will tell you in the morning to wake up and focus. You will be driven because it's something that you actually like and enjoy doing. So it's important that we do the same. Okay. Now, I want to quickly just mention why do we invest? Why invest? I know in this conference our lecturers have put some things together, and they are encouraging all of us to work on to improve ourselves, to focus on bettering ourselves, think about our future, focus on identifying opportunity, look at jobs, look at investments. And, at every one point, I'm really thankful for this, because when we take this in mind and say, okay, let me focus on what my teachers are saying and be able to, pursue some of these ideas, investments that I have in mind, or job opportunities I would want to pursue, then you can make a better version of yourself and even secure your future as you go forth. You know, even within job employment, you're like, things change. You know, we had COVID the other day, causing a lot of ripples in the job market. But then you have your side hustles, as we call them, your side hustles and passions that you pursue that can keep on generating revenue for you. Even when there are instabilities in the job market, it's very important to always consider that in terms of you're not going to work forever. So even after I retire, can I have investments that I can leverage on and continue supporting my income levels? So it's very important that we consider this. And I want to make 4 points on why invest. Now, one key aspect is why invest is that let our money, we work very hard for the money, for our money. Then we make sure that even our money works hard for us. In that we are able to make a source of income out of the investments that we put in. Okay. So whenever you, let's say for example, you get employed and you get your salary, how can I put my salary to good use? In that it will generate income for me. As a side income to what I generate from employment. If you are in entrepreneurship, how can I get into business opportunity ventures that will generate income, improving value for me for this? Remember, anything you put your money into, you just make sure that venture you put your money into generates money for you and value over time. In that now that would be able to safeguard you're able to meet your daily needs, you're able to factor for your lifestyle that you want to give, you're able to plan for future. Then the other thing is over time when your investment is able to generate income for you, you're able to achieve self-determination. As I mentioned, you will not be working for at some point you retire or some point you want to invest on your own. You will be able to achieve all this if you can actually have revenue that will be able to pay for your life, to be able to pay your family, to be able to pay for your to be able to pay for your things. And investment allows us to have self-determination and independence. And then finally, one other point on this is that you do investment in the long term view of this. In that for those of us that we are looking to have families down the line, grandchildren, there's a question of can I leave something to the future generation to pass? Even if it's not long, start a company, for example. You are looking at when it comes a time when I have to hand over to the next generation of leaders. Can I leave something that they will be able to progress? And you leave them at a pedestal, not start from scratch, but at a pedestal where they can move it forward. So the essence is always look at investment long term, in that it's going to be passed down to generation, and you want to leave them better off than at what point you started. And then the other thing is that with the wealth generated from investment, you can actually support causes that are dear to you. As I mentioned when I started, is that I come from a very remote place in Kenya, and the essence is I never thought the things I've seen are possible. No. But now when I look back, I'm more than happy to support causes that will be able to get people who did not have the same opportunities as I have, getting to the point that I have got. and even better. So there's the essence of always, I'm sure for the faculty members in this particular discussion, you find that some of the things you do is out of, you want the better of the future, a better future for the students. And it's something that brings you joy. So it's the same with you students. At some point, you will get to a point where you feel like now I would want to give back to the society the same way someone in the society also gave back to me. So in that case, then when you have a means of revenue to do the same, then you not only revenue but also aspect to do with experience as well in doing the same. You can pass that down to causes that are important to you. So whether you want to support lifestyle, or you want to upgrade to improve the livelihood of people back from where you live, then you can be able to do that on two aspects. One, based on the income you have, you can support, or based on the experience you have gotten, you can pass that experience to the individuals that down there or courses that you want. So those four key things should more or less give us a sense of where should we invest. Now, maybe before I go to the next section that I want to have discussion on, and that is where exactly are these places that we can invest in. Maybe let me just save some time and discuss around the growth aspect. Okay, now we are currently at our undergraduate level. We are going to graduate from the university. What next? Now, at this juncture is very important. Remember, now from the university, you have very good skills, okay? You have a better understanding of the world. You have a very good understanding of the business landscape, at least from the different school of thoughts and the different theories, you are quite well versed. Now, this juncture is very important because between where you are right now and what you can be, it's a matter of now a little bit of the drive in you and what you want to do. So in terms of growth, from this point, you are looking at getting into the job market, getting into the business world, and the essence here is the drive, and sitting down and deciding, if it's a job market, these are the areas or these are the sectors I would want to go. So these are the following companies that play in that sector. Now, can I get into that? What would be the requirements to get into that? Okay, so ensuring I have my CV well written, that I apply for this opportunity. I'm on the lookout for whenever these opportunities open up and doing the same. If you want to go into entrepreneurship, it's very similar. You have the drive, you assess the market, you say this is the business opportunity I would want to launch. What would be required? People to work with me, partnerships and stuff like that. Now, how can I start working on it right now and get on to that opportunity? The essence is drive. You need to have that, as we say as young people, lazima kujituma. You have to have that particular drive and take advantage of those opportunities. Now, looking at some of these places that we can invest in, I'll discuss a number of them in more and more of these opportunities. But key thing is to consider is, one, what are your interest areas? I would come here and tell you, yes, you guys can come invest in stock, invest in real estate, agriculture. No. Yes, that's one way to do it. But the essence is, one is, what plan do you have? What are these areas that actually money there and you'll most likely be gone. The essence is you have to have a passion in where you want to pursue, and with passion, you'll dedicate some time and learn what is required in those particular areas. Okay. So let me just quickly run through these areas and what to consider. So in the aspect of a digital space that is opening up, then entertainment, software development. Software development, if you're interested, that is one key area. Everyone is looking for solutions around that area. So the essence is, what are these areas that you are interested in? And then invest some time into it, invest some skills into it, and then you are able to deliver on this. Yeah. Remember, you can deliver it as an opportunity or even to a company. You're coming to a KPMG with a background in software development. We are going to take you for that because we know we have plans that require effort. Okay? So it depends on what are your areas. I've seen that so many gyms around, people are really conscious about health, and if you're very interested in workouts, why not start your own endeavor to do the same. In the aspect of farming, you very knowledge of course you have the necessary infrastructure around farming. It's very good. The community has to be. The population has to be. So you get in terms of funding. Remember, there are very many entities that have funding to do investment. Whether you're looking at Mastercard Foundation to Young Africa Works that is being done to Ivan, or you have the government, or you are the government, the various ventures you can get yourself and get your finance. So I want more or less to stop them and invite anyone who has questions and we are going to take those questions and respond. Okay. So back to you, but from the question you get, I'm able to elaborate further. Okay, and thank you very much for listening to me on this. I'll be able to share the materials I have for your purpose after the session. And yes, so if you have any questions, please shoot them there, send them my way, and be able to answer them. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's give him a hand if we can see this. Thank you so much. Questions? We will take one or two questions. Anyone with a question that you would want to direct to our speaker to elaborate on? Maybe from the top of my head, someone might ask, why recycling? It's a very interesting field. Yeah. So questions, there's a reason why I put it there, and I bet there are some areas we can do this. So questions, if you have any questions, please. All right. Any question? Or have we ambushed you with questions? He's been very elaborate in his speech and his lesson. Just in case you may have some and you may want to ask them, but right away you feel you may just want to write them down. Why don't you just write them down? Then we can share with him at another time. So, because I don't see them coming through. Mr. Maurice Mugambi, I think, oh yeah, there is one right here.
Mine is not a question, but he can help us with his number so that we can talk to him.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Mugambi will share his number.
Any questions?
Yes, that question was, actually that was not a question, it was a request to provide your contact, and that the school will be able to deal with that. So if you have anything that you might want to ask or contact the speaker for, please share with the Dean of Business School. He will be able to deal with that. And at this time, I just want to quickly allow us to go to the next very, very important session. I've been reminded that we are going to have to start with our national anthem, the national anthem, East African Community Anthem, and Kabrak University Anthem. So our VC and our Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplagat, the keynote speaker with us today, Kabrak University management present, and all protocols are observed. I would like us to get into this very special event, just as our anthems. I would like us please to stand so that we can sing together.
Yes. Thank you so much. This is part of the School of Music and Media team. Would you guys sit, please? And at this point, I would want to invite Reverend Laban Kitoni to come and offer an opening prayer, and the Dean of the School of Business thereafter. Okay. All right, the Dean of School of Business, Dr. Patrick Shidaki Baji, you are most welcome now to take us from here and lead us in the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Maino Igajo, Director, Nakuton Campus, is our moderator. Our keynote speaker, Her Excellency Kadri Umar Ayal, Honorary Consul of Estonia in Kenya. Our guest speaker, Mr. Maurice Mugambi Kinyire, Manager, Data and Analytics, KPMG. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplagat. Our Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Administration and Finance, Professor Ronald Chepkilot. Our Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Academics and Research, Professor John Ochora. Registrar in charge of Academics and Research, Dr. Anthony Soba. Registrar in charge of Admin and HR, Professor Simon Kipchumba. Members of management present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure and privilege to welcome all of you to Kabarak School of Business and Economics, 12th edition of our University Annual International Research Conference on the theme, Global Trends in Trade, Investments and Growth. Ladies and gentlemen, commercialization of research outputs can play a critical role in improving the performance of the developing countries at the global level in the area of trade, investments, and growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kabarak University School of Business and Economics continues to grow in terms of student numbers, academic staff, and academic programs. Currently, we are at 29, industry collaborations, and research output. Currently, we have MOUs with various organizations. And in the interest of time, I will not name them, but they include commercial banks, NSC, and also organizations in the hospitality industry. And these MOUs provide for interaction of our students with industry, which enhances our training. In conclusion, I wish to keep my remarks quite brief. I wish to once again take this opportunity to sincerely thank our keynote speaker, Her Excellency Kadri Umar Ayal, our guest speaker, Maurice Mugambi, our Vice Chancellor and members of management for finding time to attend this conference. I also wish to sincerely thank the conference participants and the entire team involved in the planning of this conference. All the people who will participate in various areas like the chairs and the rapporteurs of various sessions, the staff and the students of the School of Business and Economics, as well as all other relevant stakeholders. I wish to thank you for your dedication and your availability. I wish to take this opportunity to welcome our Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Academics and Research, Professor John Ochora, to give his remarks and invite the Vice Chancellor.
Thank you, Dr. Kibati. The keynote speaker, Your Excellency, Madam Kadri Humal Ayal, the Honorary Consul of Estonia in Kenya, Professor Henry Kiplangat, the Vice Chancellor, Kabarak University, the guest speaker, Mr. Morris Mugambi Nikinyili, Manager, Data and Analytics, KPMG, members of the university management, all protocols observed. Good morning. We are delighted to welcome you to Kabarak University 12th International Research Conference hosted by the School of Business and Economics. The theme for this conference is on global trends in trade, investment, and growth. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome our Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplangat, to welcome our guest and make his remarks. Welcome, sir. Let us put our hands together.
The keynote speaker, Your Excellency, Madam Kadri Humal Ayal, the Honorary Consul of Estonia in Kenya, Nairobi. The guest speaker, Mr. Morris Mugambi, who is the Manager, Data and Analytics, KPMG. The members of Kabarak University Management Board, the deans of schools, directors, faculty and students, all conference participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. With great pleasure, I welcome you to Kabarak University 12th International Research Conference, hosted by the School of Business and Economics. We are delighted to have you with us in this year's conference addressing the theme, Global Trends in Trade, Investments, and Growth. Kenya, being a developing country, our youth are facing a myriad of challenges, the biggest being joblessness. And this has necessitated the need to explore investment opportunities and growth for our young graduates. The investment opportunities should not only mirror the formal employment in organizations, but also focus on the establishment of successful business startups. These ingenious ways can create employment for the youth using the existing platforms and mechanisms provided by the government as well as the private sector. As a university, we believe that young people have the power to shape their future by considering business startups. The general perception is that business startups are only possible in developed countries where resources are readily available. However, I have noted that amazing startups have come up from developing countries. Young entrepreneurs attract investors to invest their resources, hence creating wealth and establishing good business in the global market. Startups create jobs and more employment opportunities thereby contributing to national economic development. Furthermore, startups create new markets or completely transform the old markets by producing services and ideas that change the world. In addition, they develop the ability to make something from nothing, and finally, they have the ability to extract the most from limited resources. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the potential for any economy to grow is also pegged on rigorous research activities that are aimed at providing solutions to national and global problems, as well as those of industry. Through research, innovation is promoted and new knowledge is generated. That is the reason why we invest in hosting the annual research conference in our university. We hope that through this conference, we will address and offer hope and solutions to the challenges being experienced by the youth. I wish to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Maurice Mugambi Nginyili, the Data and Analytics Manager at KPMG, who gave his speech earlier on investment opportunities and growth for young graduates. Thank you very much, Mr. Nginyili, for honoring our invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are greatly honored to have Her Excellency, the Honorary Consul of Estonia in Kenya, Madam Kadri Humal Ayal, as our keynote speaker. And now it is my pleasure to welcome Her Excellency, the Honorary Consul, to give the keynote address on establishing successful business startups. Your Excellency, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to grace this occasion. Welcome. But just before she comes over, I would like to tell you something about Her Excellency. Madam Kadri Humal Ayal is the Honorary Consul of Estonia in Kenya, as I've just mentioned. She's also a member of the Rotary International with home club as Rotary Club of Nairobi East. Madam Kadri combines digital life skills as birthright of an Estonian with a profound understanding of the region from professional and personal relations and interactions that are unique to a resident of Kenya of 27 years. Rotarian, engaged in the Rotary Grant projects for 8 years, and a consultant working with the Horn of Africa and East African community for over 2 decades. Early adopter by nature, her social science background proves necessary in translating advances in technology to everyday actionable tools and creating applicable meaning from platforms for non-technology natives. Drawing on experiences from time travel between Estonia, the digital leader of Europe and East Africa, upcoming technology superpower, Her Excellency Kadri, in her role, provides bridges, connections, linkages, and practical understanding for the digi-curious and e-governance and digital transformation agenda. She works closely with the Estonian ICT cluster, many of whom have created most of Estonia's world-recognized e-governance solutions, ed-tech companies in Estonia, whose solutions have been central in progressing the learning experience and subsequent results to be recognized as among top 3 in the world, governments, private sector, and academia in the region to create compatible and complementary partnerships. Ladies and gentlemen, conference participants, please help me in welcoming Her Excellency Kadri to come and deliver her keynote address. Welcome, Your Excellency. And as Her Excellency comes over, I would like to render an apology because Professor Chepkilot and I are required to be in a meeting right now. We are 5 minutes late, and we shall request that you allow us to go and serve the university in that capacity. I really wanted to listen to Her Excellency, but Professor Ochola has to remain here so that he will give me the message. Thank you. Take this.
All right, good morning. I'm hoping it will go on to the present mode. Maybe the lower corner, right-hand corner down. If you come all the way down, and there is all right, also that works. Very well. Good morning. You've heard some of the introduction about me, and while normally keynote speeches are kind of delivered as a monologue, this being a university, I do wish to engage with all of you, because I think it's a great opportunity to be in front of great young minds, as well as great learned academicians. And I do want to hear back from you every now and then. Oh, kindly put back the presentation. Okay. So maybe just quickly as a show of hands to start with, just so that we get into the practice of doing this together. How many had heard about Estonia before this morning? How many had heard about Estonia before? Okay, all right, we have a couple of hands up. And so then, of course, naturally, my question, okay, we are not yet on the present screen. All right, my question to you is, what have you heard about Estonia? Those who have heard, what is it that you've heard about Estonia? Yes? Hopefully there is a mic that can move around. Is there somebody who can move with the mic so that it's more interesting to do it together that way? Great. There is a hand in front here. There is a hand in front here. And then next one, whoever wishes to share. I'll take 2 comments. Yes, thank you. Just put it onto, click it onto play, please, so that we can be watching the beautiful scenes of Estonia. No, I'll be controlling it from here. Please go back. Yeah, and just leave that one to play. Yeah, just leave it there. Thanks. All right. Yes, please.
It was one of the countries of the USSR. It was part of the USSR, then it became a country on its own.
Okay, good comment. Thank you very much. Anybody else who wants to comment? What have you heard about Estonia before? Yes, please?
I have heard they love innovations.
Okay, perfect. Who else? Anybody else who wants to comment on what you've heard about Estonia? There were a couple of more hands up. There were about like 5 or 6 at least that I saw from here. Okay, not to worry. Let me ask you, why is the screen not playing? Because, no, all right. Okay, never mind. I guess we'll move forward, even though there was like a beautiful video over there. Yes?
It's also the digital leader in Europe. That's what I heard today. Digital.
Okay, very well. Thank you for those thoughts. So I will comment on all of those just as we get into the introduction about Estonia. But as you've heard, I've lived in Kenya for 27 years. So I've lived in Kenya longer than I've lived in Estonia. So consider me equally as an Estonian native as well as a Kenyan native, because I think there are many people in this audience who've not lived in Kenya for 27 years, right? When looking at the subject, please don't move forward. I'll come to, please move back. Yeah, thank you. I'll let you know when, because somehow I think from this distance the remote is not working. Okay, we'll keep going off. Okay, we are fixing something. Oh, beautiful, you're able to bring it here. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Okay, thanks. Thank you. All right, so, because my topic today is about startups. And I will straight away maybe start to highlight, as I introduce myself, Estonian thinking about startups. Now, you heard that I'm introduced as the honorary consul. Honorary consul is different from an ambassador. I think most of you have met people who introduce themselves either as ambassadors, maybe they introduce themselves as attachés, maybe economic attachés, particularly for the business fields. But I'm an honorary consul. And so an honorary consul is different from, perfect, let's just leave it here. Thank you. An honorary consul is different from an ambassador because as honorary consul, I am not a diplomatic appointment. Honorary consuls get appointed because of their knowledge of both the country that they represent and the country that they serve in. And Estonia has only about 30 full embassies across the world, but has a network of about 200 honorary consuls. Because honorary consuls do not draw any budget from the government. Honorary consul appointment is an honorary appointment. It's a patriotic duty, and it's a lifetime appointment. So it's something that, as an ambassador, I would have rotated out of Kenya a long time ago. And Estonia considers that very often ambassadors do not develop quite the understanding of the country in order to be able to understand the peculiarities of the country and to understand the uniqueness of it. So as honorary consul, I've been the honorary consul for 14 years now. And so one of the ways in which this is a startup attitude from the Kenyan government is because as startups, you only spend when you have to. As startups, you first do everything that can be done without spending, and you only spend when there is the necessity to do so. And in order for me to grow the startup of Estonia in Kenya, I need to have more business engagements between Estonia and Kenya to the level where it makes economic sense to establish an embassy. So I'm working towards an embassy so that I can retire from the position of honorary consul, because honorary consuls are only in cities where there is no embassy. So that's basically the quick understanding of why an honorary consul and why I have lived here for 27 years and 14 as an honorary consul. When we will look at Estonia and why Estonia is in this conversation today, I will take you through some of the background to it, because in order to be a success and recognized as such for economic growth and for startup ecosystem, it's necessary to understand a little bit of the background, because it's not that you wake up and there you are, number one in the world in startup friendliness. And so to get started, I want us to look at some of the ways in which Estonia is where it is now. You know, just a quick overview of how Estonia is positioned globally. And so, as you can see, we rank quite highly in many different rankings concerning various aspects of economy, digitization, e-governance. And those who said that we are known for digital governance, e-governance, for technology, as you can see from the rankings, you're very right. Yes, indeed, we are well known for that. But also one of the things that is not on this slide is that the Index Venture ranked Estonia as #1 in startup friendliness in 2021. Together with Latvia and Lithuania. Estonian government makes a creation of business very easy. And there are extremely supportive startup ecosystems already in place. And a result of this, startups are also less likely to fail in Estonia. And just so that we bring ourselves onto the map, so you know where Estonia is. So we are next to Scandinavia, and the country that you don't see to the east of us, what country is that? What's our eastern border? Anybody know that? It's Russia. We are right next to Russia, and we're one of the countries that is not afraid of Russia. Because over the years, we have told Russia over and over again where our border lies. And as you can see from the list, we also have NATO to back us up on that. We are members of the European Union. And so it is part of the reasons why we feel strongly when it comes to being able to stand where we stand. And so you know, we are taking a quick look at our roots. And because if you look at the figures, for example, right on your screen, when we look at where Estonia was when we regained our independence from Soviet Union. So those who said, yes, we were occupied by the Soviet Union, we were not freely part of it. If you've seen the way Russia right now has attempted to occupy sections of Ukraine, Estonia was occupied by the Soviet Union. And so we, as a country, we were first established in 1918. And we lost our independence after Second World War. And we regained our independence in 1991. And so for the question of how did Estonia, for example, grow its per capita GDP from $2,895 in 1992 to $23,300 in 2020. That is how many times growth? That's about 10 times growth. Just a quick comparison, Kenyan GDP per capita in 1991. Anybody, any guess what could have that been? Students of economy. Okay, so Kenyan GDP per capita was, in 1991, was 332. So if Kenya had 10 times growth since, it would be right now at About 3,000, right? Okay, slightly higher than Estonia was in 1991. What's currently Kenya's GDP per capita? It's 1,838. So current Kenya's GDP per capita is lower than Estonia when Estonia regained its independence. And at that point in time, Estonia was really poor. Estonia had virtually nothing. So how is it that we came to be where we are today? How is it that such a huge transformation happened in Estonia? There are several factors that came together in the end. Some of them provide the factual context. Others depend more on intangible things such as culture and values. Estonia is a relatively big country with a 45,000 square kilometer with a relatively small population, 1.3 million. How many people live in Nakuru County? What's the population of Nakuru? Is it more than 1.3 or less than 1.3? More, all right, so there we are. So I think you understand our size. Because of that, to start with, the government budget was around 130 million when it regained its independence in 1991. Quite frankly, it could not offer traditional bureaucratic structures because of the lack of money and manpower. At least equally important as these fundamental challenges was the fact that Tallinn had been home of the Soviet Union's Cybernetics Institute since 1960s. And so some of the required IT talent was already in place. Another factor may very well have been Estonian culture. You see, Estonians are not the most talkative people. For us, digitization saved us both time, money, and also the need to interact with government offices. And all this came together in 1994 when the Parliament signed the first draft policy on digitalization. So as you can see, the developments were really based on the bare necessity as much as forward-thinking mindset. Of course, there were also challenges. When Estonia started building its information society about 2.5 decades ago, there were no digital data, actually, that is being collected about citizens. And the general population did not have a connection to internet. 25 years ago, okay, many of you were not born, but those who were born, if you remember, there was Africa Online and the dial-up connections. So that is the environment in which Estonia decided to go digital as a country. And so it took a great courage to invest in IT solutions and to take information technology route. At a point when Estonian average salary was about 5,000 to 6,000 shillings per month. Does 5,000 to 6,000 shillings per month describe the salary scales within Nakuru County? Is it more? Yeah? So in essence, as Nakuru County, you are richer than Estonia was when we took the path towards digitalization. So throughout this presentation, you will see how both simple and user-friendly many of the ways in which Estonia approaches its interventions are. This is because what we call a citizen-centric approach. Of course, one always has to take into account what specialists and other interest groups are thinking, Doctors should be consulted for implementation of health portals. There are always legal concerns and requirements for the provision of new services. But at the heart of this, Estonia has always focused on what the end user, that means the citizen, what the people on the ground, what is it that they need in order for their lives to be easier. And so one crucial part of this was an open-minded approach to private-public partnerships, PPP. Thankfully, both the private and public sector understood the need to build up a country as an information society and integrate e-state solutions as they were being created. Thus, the banking sector pushed hard to secure online authentication methods and were the first to fully embrace solutions like mobile ID and smart ID. Mobile ID and smart ID are tools that are yet to be implemented in Kenya. Kenya has already done a step in the right direction with the Huduma number creation, which is the digital identity first step. Estonia has implemented the next step, which is being able to use digital tools to securely identify one online. These were done in the year 2001. So we are 21 years into using digital online secure systems. Of course, user-friendly online services are irrelevant if people don't have reliable internet connection. And for this reason, internet has been established as a social right. So in Estonia, access to internet is not considered a human right, but it's considered a social right. It is that freely accessible internet is available in many public spaces across the country, while mobile internet is also quite affordable and readily available, and Estonia has 95% 4G coverage across the country. And other fundamental parts of the development of trustworthy online services was the decision to legally confer data ownership to respective individuals. So in Estonia, every individual owns their data. The government hosts it. The government does not own the data relating to the individuals. And this means that the citizen owns his or her personal data, and the government authorities only handle that data and have to ask for explicit consent of the owner to share that data with other authorities. So giving and then here we are looking at some of the approaches I've just mentioned as well, with the access to internet, the right to own one's data, and so looking at now the general approach, so digital government, digitalized government, in order to actually have the fastest decision-making. It's an approach that has a backing in the political situation from the early 1990s. The political parties were largely in agreement that Estonia had to catch up with the Nordic brothers and sisters, and one of the primary tools for this was digitalization, because it could accelerate and streamline public bureaucracy while also saving time and money for the citizens that would use these digital services. It is fair to say that the political leadership at the time was very digitally minded. Neither in the 1990s nor today are there any parties who want to go back to paper. Those of you who are used to everything on your mobile phone, would you consider doing those transactions on paper, in person? How about access to the government services? Would you be able to look at the possibility of not having to step out of your house to access any service that you require? It's coming. So that's why when in my introduction, the Vice Chancellor mentioned that I do time travel. Of course, there is no time travel, right? But I do time travel because I know what the future holds for Kenya. I have seen what a digital society looks like. And so I can tell you that within a couple of years, I know Kenya will be at a place where you'll be able to access everything straight from your phone, the way Kenya has been doing when it comes to access to their money on mobile platforms. And so another most important factor that helps streamlining the government structures, authorities, and databases was the once-only principle, which exists in Estonia. Once-only principle means that any type of data that is related to an individual can only be collected at one specific institution at source. By that, eliminating duplication of data and bureaucracy. So while in most countries, many different authorities have the right to ask you for your address, for your name, for your date of birth, for your next of kin, the things that you would need to fill in again and again, yet information that never changes. In Estonia, only the population registry can ask you for your address, and any other authority that needs your address is forbidden to ask it from you. Instead, it needs to get that information from the population registry. This is also a necessary precondition for the fully functional use of X-Road, which I'll show you in a short while. If you're wondering about the legal foundation for once-only principle, it stems from the combination of different legal acts and regulations. For instance, the Public Information Act of Estonia lays down the prohibition of establishing separate databases for collection of the same data. More concretely, the general part of the Economic Activities Code Act prohibits requesting information twice. Also, the principle of managing services and governing information, the government regulation specifically lays down the prohibition to request the submission of data that is already in any database belonging to the state information system. Estonia has further pushed for the implementation of the principle at the EU level, with the Tallinn Declaration on e-government, setting the objective to implement once only for key public sector, and the same for citizens and businesses. And so finally, Estonia has also implemented the system called Digital by Default. This means that government authorities were tasked to offer their offline portfolio of services online in a digital format, as well as that the steps shall be undertaken to make sure that this is the norm. Still, it's important to note that people are not forced to do these things online. It is just that most people choose to use the digital route because it usually saves them time and a lot of money as well. As an example of registering a license plate online costs around 10 euros less than going to do that in person in office. And so thanks to the default approach of digital, 99% of government services are fully accessible online. And so when you say, so what's that 1%? So the only 1% where somebody needs to go in person is, well, you cannot get married or divorced, or you cannot buy land over digital systems. You have to go in front of a notary to do that. And but all the systems behind there where the registries happen are digital. It is simply being in person to